Welcome, my friends, old and new, to Not Church, where we look at Christian scriptures and stay for the chat after. Through the heretical eyes of a twice dead, twice born, near death experiencer, me, which gave me eyes to see, the light itself, here, there, and everywhere, I seek to open your eyes and to change and deconstruct the literal world that you were taught in, so that we may see the light itself in words, in print, in sound, with ear and eye of our hearts. Isn't that why you're here? Because you seek the light and need satisfaction? I'm taking a moment while the regulars tune in to say hello to you who are here for the first time, and please subscribe on YouTube. I'm Reverend Peter Baldwin Panagore, a mix of the old and the new, Yell Master of Divinity, ex-pastor, ex-mole for the ineffable holy, oneness of being, hiding inside the church, helping community, ex-broadcaster of hope and love on TV. While living my secret inner life of prayer and preparation, I'm finally ready to speak the message and live my mission, my purpose, my calling in the open. Visit peterpanagore.love for details. Of the message of which I am one of tens of millions of messengers. About me, you need to know nothing. About the light, everything. The light above and all of us, between us, among us, around, surrounding, magnifying as we share. Always now, always here, always living, always becoming. Open yourself with me to the oneness who is not me. Feel a frequency rise inside your soul. The one who is inside of you calls you. What will you learn here? When you come to know yourselves, then you will be known by the knower. And you will realize that you are the children of the living progenitor, said Jesus in the Gospel of Thomas. But if you do not come to know yourselves, then you exist in poverty and are poverty. Not in poverty, but are poverty. Do you want to be enriched with heaven's healing treasures? Is that your aim in life? It's mine. It's the only one that matters. Everlasting, beginning here and now, always now. Jesus said, "Come to know what is in front of you, and that which is hidden from you will become clear to you." Heaven is here, at hand, ever now, everywhere, all the time, in everything, in everyone, in every life. Jesus said, "For there is nothing hidden that will not become manifest." Once your inner eye is open, then everything becomes manifest. See the hidden heaven among us. See it. The disciples said to Jesus, "Tell us how our end will be." Jesus said, "Have you understood the beginning that now you know?" Well, I have to go back for that. This is teleprompter land, everybody. Have you already discovered the beginning so that now you are asking about the end? Where the beginning is, there the ending shall be at the beginning, and you will not taste death. The living water of life is the flow you seek, the isness of allness, and you'll taste dying. Everybody dies, but death, oh baby, death is beautiful. Your beginning is your ending. You are a child of God. Move beyond belief into the grace of the direct mystical experience where we gain sight, wisdom as a gift of the giver. No greater treasure is there than that which is eternal. We don't boast of ourselves, said Paul, said me. We only always point to the voice, the healer, the holy, the spirit, the vibrator of the string of souls, your soul. Join our community. Stay for our chat, and please subscribe. So before we chit and chat, tomorrow the Amazon producer, Craig McMahon, creator of the Life to Life After series, will be in our home on Monday all day, shooting a friend and me for his next episode. When we seek the giver instead of the gifts, life becomes abundant. Jesus said, love Creator above all things with brain, breath, heart, and soul. Brain, breath, heart, and soul. Seek the giver, not the gift. And you'll be surprised at what you get. So who's got a comment or a question to start our chat this morning? And thanks for bearing with me as I figure out this new app. And I want to thank everybody for helping me set this whole thing up, especially David, who tipped me off to that wonderful app. And I'm going to slide over to the chat here and say good morning to Allie and Claire and Arian and Steve. Steve saying there's no video at the website. It will be there. I don't know why it's not there, but today's the first day. Steve, thanks for bringing that up to me. New website, peterpanagore.love. It's supposed to have a live video feed. Not sure what happened, but we're still working out the bugs. I'm glad you came here. But everybody on Facebook, check me out on YouTube. That's where the community is growing. So hi, everybody. I'm going to swing down here. I'm going to pop on my hat too for a bit. Get that light out of my eyes a little there. Just a little bit makes a difference. So swinging up to the top here. Colleen, hello, sunny day. Colleen, New Hampshire, just down the road from me, or over to the west, depending on which way you're driving. Oh, thank you so much, Yachella. Shelly, oh my God, I did it again. Thanks, Shelly, for your gift this morning using Super Chat. I appreciate it very much. It helps me stay here doing what I'm doing. And I hope that today's little sermon, is that a sermon? Is that a preacher? Am I a preacher? Am I not a preacher? Am I not a sermon writer? I don't know what that was. I'm just trying to figure this out as we go along, and I'm experimenting with lyricism. And I want to be a lyrical speaker or reader of my writings, because that's what I do. I write these things ahead of time, and then I read them from the teleprompter because I love language. So, in Oregon, thank you also to Charles. Thanks, Charles, for your gift this morning. I appreciate it. It helps a lot. Thanks. Colleen, happy sunny day. You're in New Hampshire. Emily and Art and Alexandria, Virginia. Hey, I got family in Virginia. Hey, Louisa from Melbourne. Hey, Louisa in Melbourne. Lisa has a really great show on YouTube. And if you've never caught her show, it's totally worth catching. She did my interview. I think she runs an IANS group. Is that right? Out there, Louisa? But you have a great show. I'm assuming it's the same Louisa. Stardust, good morning from Ohio. Lee from Niantic, Connecticut. Vicky, good morning, Vicky. Gigi and BC, Westminster, BC. What a beautiful part of the world, BC. British Columbia, Western Canada, which happens to be where I went snow caving, because we crossed the border between Alberta and British Columbia when we went snow caving. I died in Alberta, but I camped in British Columbia. So back to Colorado, David Holt. Hey, David. Nice to see you here. And Kate from Australia. You love Not Church. Thanks, sister. I appreciate it. And I appreciate everybody who's supporting me in all the different ways that people are, because you're making it possible for me to do this. I've been a pastor my whole life, ex-pastor now, and been trying to speak the truth for a long time. And now I'm freed to at least explore it. That's what I'm doing. This is an experimental exploration. Kate. Oh, yeah, you said hi. Sorry about that. I said that out already. Oh, from Taiwan. Ilkinod from Hisuchi, Taiwan. Nice to see you. All the way from Taiwan. Super great. Let's see, it just slid me off. Perth, Australia. Russell from the UK. That's Alyssa in Perth. And Thas in South Africa. Hey, Thas, if you could message me. Someone's looking for your email address, a member of our mystical group, and they wanted to get in touch with you. Appreciate it if you message me privately. We can chat about it, and you can see what it's about. Hey, Oscar, it's about last Sunday in your prayer. Oscar, good morning. Let it roll. Thanks, Oscar. Willie T. Greetings from Scotland and the West Coast. You're just across the pond. Wendy in Vermont. Hi, Wendy. Wendy's been a big help for a long time. Rob, good morning from the Northeast Massachusetts. Nice. And thanks, somebody who just dropped in, Oscar. Thanks for that gift, Oscar. Every gift really helps, and I appreciate it a lot. So thanks for the donations. It not only gives me courage to do what I'm doing, but it also makes it possible. So thanks. Charlie from Ireland. Charlie, I owe you an email. I know you wrote to me this week. I just saw it this morning. Crazy week. Hope you're doing well. Nina, good morning from Wisconsin. Shelly. Oh, yeah. Let's see. Shelly? Question mark. Colleen, remember to hit like, folks. Yeah, hit the like button. That really helps. Thanks. Hitting the like button on all the videos, on this video, helps a lot. A lot. Spreads the word, raises the whole profile inside of the back end of YouTube. Lisa, good morning. Logan, much love. Back right at you. Colleen, what is your perspective on indigo crystal children? I don't know much about them. I hear a lot about them, but they're a little above my pay grade. I see that all of us are in the oneness of being. I'm not sure about indigo children. That is a question for somebody else. I'm sorry. I try never to say something if I don't know the answer. And so that's sort of outside my realm. There are other people who could answer that for you, though. So but thanks for asking, Colleen. I appreciate it. Elizabeth from District of Columbia, DC, United States. Hi. And Vicky, lyrical guide. Thanks, Vicky. Is it working? Is the lyricism working? I mean, I'm always pushing, trying to be. I love art. I love creating. I love art. I love the art of language, and I love the art of language. And so, hopefully, that lyrical thing is working. MG, you're a brother. Hello, MG. Peace to you. Rob, it's a message at the heart, no matter what you call it. Thanks, Rob. Yeah, I don't know what to call it. Does it need to be defined? Does it have to have a label? I don't know. Call it poetry. Call it holy poetry or love poetry. I'm basically a love mystic. Let's see. Thanks, Shelley. Boy, you are just super generous. Thank you very much for double, triple, quadrupling supporting the donation. Thank you this morning again and again, Shelley. And you think Not Church is awesome. We love you. Thank you. It's not ever, I mean, I'm a vehicle for sure. I'm a vehicle of communication. I am a messenger. That's what I came back with. The very second day after my death, the first time, I resisted because I didn't know how to talk about it. But I can definitely tell you that I'm trying to do my job now. Finally coming out of the closet, finally doing what I was called to do here. And thanks, Louisa. I'm another Louisa, new to Not Church and loving it. Thank you. Well, it's nice to meet. Oh, that other Louisa. She's from Auckland. I know that New Zealand and Australia are not the same country. Okay, I do know that. And hello, I'm blushing. Okay, Louisa from Australia, and I'm glad you love Not Church. Thank you very much for your gift this morning. And when the blush drops from my face, I'll stop this silly smile. Let's see. Back up. Ooh. Stardust. It's all vibration, and it was very loving and healing. Thanks. Loving and healing is what I'm aiming for, and I'm trying to create the space for the vibration, for the higher vibe, I can't even say it. This frequency of God. That's the problem. It's unspeakable. It's feelable. You can feel it. You can be transformed by it, but it's so difficult to say, and it's because it can never be limited by words. I'm piling words upon words upon words, said Shakespeare. But thanks for the sticker, MG, and the gift. Thank you very much. Jumping up. Thank you. Fabulous. Thank you very, very, very much for the donation this morning. Yeah, vibe. Stringer together of souls. Wonderfully lyrical. Thanks. I was thinking string theory. Yeah, Colleen, it was a beautiful message. Thank you, our messenger. Thank you. I'm just trying to do my job. I'm trying to use the tool set of Christianity, in which I was raised and what I studied and what I lived, even though I'm not a religious person at all. And I'm not a religious person. Thank you, Emily Matthews. Thank you very much for your gift this morning. Your donation to Help Not Church. Staying alive, staying alive. Someone of my friends who happens to live in Vermont tells me not to sing on my videos. Who do you think that was or is? She's probably right. She's right about a lot of stuff. So I'm on YouTube now. Arian, great. Thanks for coming over from Facebook. Hi, Peter. It's Debbie in Lymington, Maine. Debbie Fitzsimmons. Hi, Debbie. Did you tune in for dailydevotions.org with Reverend Peter Panagore just before the weather? I never get to say that. But were you a watcher? Did you watch? I hope so. I was always trying to bring hope and love, bring part of the good news in the middle of the bad news. Anyway, hi, Debbie. Gigi, yes, Banff, your book is great. Reading it now. Oh, cool. Great. Did you get the Canadian HarperCollins version? I just would, curious. Sarah, good morning from Chile. Really? Am I reading that right? I got to check my glasses. Buenos dias. Excellent. Thank you, Chile. Colorado, Shelley. Good morning, Susan Meek. Hello, Susan. Hi, Susan. I've known Susan a long time. Gigi, love all the location information of everybody. I think what I'm going to do on my website, besides fixing the video feed, I'm going to put up Z maps. It comes with a subscription, and I want to get this thing. It will let everybody who visits the website pin where they are in the world. It's on my list. I'll get to it, I'll get one of these days. But anyway, I'd love to pin it on my website. Pays for the coffee. Yeah, Colleen. I had my cup. I don't have my cup anymore. I was at my desk this morning at 5:30 a.m. That's when I come here, Eastern time. How long before you felt comfortable speaking the truth that now flows through you, Lupe? Well, it's the funny thing, is that I was always speaking it, but never directly. I was always couching it in terms that were less than the ones that I'm capable of doing. And so I was more of a progression. The When I first came back from death, I had no words at all. I went to divinity school to learn the words. I became a pastor in order to learn to write the words. Thank you, Gigi, for the gift this morning. In order to write the words, and then it was the flow was always here. The flow is always present. I worked in my prayer life, my meditation life, my yoga life to create a capacity for the flow, to increase the capacity for the flow so that it would have an opportunity to come out, because it's not really, truly, 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 truly not about me. It's really, I am a no matter person in the astrological time space of this continuum from the Big Bang to now. I matter not at all. What really, really matters is the light itself. And so the flow I've been increasing the flow, but it's only since March of this year, on Easter, when I launched Not Church. Was the first time that I allowed myself the free speech. I'm a free thinker and a free speaker. And so it's just pretty recent, really, that this whole thing has been developing. And you're all a part of it, and I couldn't be doing it without you. Not at all without you. And Lisa, thank you so much for the gift this morning. Also, Lisa Braswell. Thanks, Lisa. Nice to meet you. I appreciate the support. Where was I? I was skimming down. Good morning to you all. So the flow is what we do. So the flow is the thing. It's the key. You open the flow. You open to the living water. You open to the artesian well, the living water, as Jesus called it. The water that comes from below and through us and out is a one way to think about it. And let's scroll you back to where I was. Colleen, yes, no worries, thanks. Sheila, good morning. When someone close to you dies, do you feel like prayers for their passage are useful or necessary? And what about the grief for those of us left behind? Huge questions, very big questions. Trisha Barker, my dear friend Trisha Barker, professor of English in Texas, near-death experiencer, has her own show, does interviews. She was pulled back when she was dead. She felt the prayers of people yanking on her. So yes, I think that prayers matter, and they helped bring her back, but you can't always come back. That's the thing. Everybody goes, and not everybody comes back. Why that is, I don't really know. But yes, prayers for the dead. Help them feel your love. You love prayers for the dead arise from the space of love. And so they're basically little envelopes of love being handed on, passed to the angelic messenger who carries it to the desk clerk of the office of God, where the letter, it's an email, whatever metaphor you want to use. So yes, because there is timelessness. And yes, because there is no space at all. And yes, because love is eternal nature. And yes, because the more we love each other, even when they're dead, the more love we have on earth, because they don't stop loving us. Love is not contained by time. And as for grief, grief sucks. Okay? Grief is awful. And I've suffered grief too. You would think that near-death experiencers don't suffer grief, but that's not true. I suffer grief. I suffered grief the day my sister died. I collapsed to the floor. I suffered grief this week. A young fellow I've known his life took his life here in Maine. And then my friend John died. We have to go through grief, and grief takes a long time. It takes a year, at least, to begin to scar that wound over. So bear with it. Keep your prayers. Maybe you'll get visited by your beloved dead person, by the one that you have lost, who is still living but isn't present to you. I pray that they come and visit you so that your grief can shift from belief in the afterlife to knowing that your beloved person, the one you love, is still living in the light of God, whole and healed and blissed and connected, comforted and healed without suffering. But it takes a year or so. Take it easy. Cry when you need to. Big questions. We'll touch more on that in the weeks to come. Gigi. Hey, holy poetry. Oh, holy poetry. I like it. And Rob, good morning, Rob from Wales. God bless you from Rob Whitehouse. God bless you too, Rob, over there in Wales, across the ocean from me. Shelley, he works through you beautifully. So grateful. The whole purpose of the spiritual life is to get out of the way. That's the job of the mystical person. That's the job of the contemplative. That's the job of Christianity. That's the job of every spiritual person around the world who's ever been a mystic. Whoever is a mystic Islam calls it surrender. That's what Islam means. Surrender. This is the practice of surrender to God, because the false ego self that we think is who we are is not who we are. And it veils us to the reality of the heaven here now, which is what we talked about this morning, which is what Jesus was talking about in the Gospel of Thomas, the presence of heaven here. How do you know where you're going when you don't know where you've been? The disciples ask him, where are we going? How do you know where you're going if you don't know where you've been? You find out where you've been by the journey within. The deeper you go inside, the more the self dies, the more open the door becomes, the more light shines through, like a flue in a chimney. Two. Okay, pushing that thing. Hi, Brooke. Good morning, my beloved over there in California, my soul sister. Brooke just got a new channel started too. Brooke specializes, if I dare say, in psychotherapy. She has several advanced degrees. She's a doctor, and she has a near-death experiencer with polytrauma. And if you've got trauma, she's a good person to talk to. Anyway, Colleen raised my vibration. That's what I want to hear. Because we raise it together. The more we share it, the louder it becomes inside us. Where two or more are gathered, I am there. The I am is the vibration. David, I recommend to my pastor that he develop a sermon series on NDE. Is this appropriate for your followers? I wonder how many of your followers attend a church. I wonder too. A series on NDE. I'm glad you brought that to your pastor, David. If he ever wants to talk to me, or she ever wants to talk to me about it, I am available for that. Um, but I guess I'm kind of, yeah, I suppose there are at least 9 NDEs in the Bible, at least 9, and if you include Jesus, and it could be 11. It's what's one of those numbers? I have to look. Numbers dyslexic. Anyway, there's a bunch of them in the Bible. Jesus has 3. I think there's Paul has 3. I think the Hebrew scriptures might have. They definitely have 2. They might have 3. I have to think about it. But yes, there are new NDEs in the Bible, and sometime we will get to that for sure here. Let's see, Vicky, when you are dealing with a challenging issue, how do you stay in that higher vibration meditation? But there are other tips and tools. Yeah, remembering the presence of God when you're in the middle of it. So meditation opens the space for the more of the vibration to raise itself inside of you. So imagine if you are a closed space and that frequency, that waveform. All right. And you get a bigger space, you get a bigger waveform, more amplitude. You get more amplitude. The wider your space, the greater your meditation space, the wider the amplitude of the holy vibration. So there's that. And then in terms of daily life, first of all, I dive deeper in when I'm in trauma and turmoil. I dive into my meditation. I dive into my yoga because it's the only place I have stability. But in my working life or my living life, when I'm in the middle of trauma, my personal life, I try to remember the presence of God by repeating my prayer again and again inside my head, which brings me into the presence. My mantra is not just a tool I use during my meditation. My mantra is a tool I use all the time, remembering the presence of God. There's lots of after effects of that. And one of them is humility. And when in the middle of trauma and the middle of great difficulty, humility is a useful tool because you get to see the other person, not just as a light being also, but as a frail mud being as well. And you get to see what I mean by mud being. I mean someone made of earth, someone made in earth, someone enfleshed. There's this, the deeper one goes in meditation, the more equality there is between our humanity from one to the other, so that even then you can love your enemy. That's how that works. I hope that helped. Hey, Rob, scripture talks about spiritual warfare. What's your take on that? Is there anything other than love and spirit? Yeah, there's spiritual warfare, but I'm not fighting the freaking battle. Okay? I'm not fighting that battle. I'm going to be sipping my tea in the tent behind the lines. No, that's not quite true. I'm in the forefront of that battle. I'm in the forefront of that battle in terms of the deconstruction of literalism, but I'm not fighting that war. I'm not fighting the same war that they're fighting. I'm simply trying to dive ever deeper in and let the battle take care of itself. I don't have to do any of the fighting. I don't have to force anything. If I pursue the warrior with the capital W, if I pursue that oneness of being, I become the warrior as needed. If I pursue the joy with the capital J, I become the joy as needed. If I pursue the parts of God, if I put myself out to fight the battle by myself, I lose. I lose. I only gain when I point myself inward. So spiritual battle, sure, but I'm not going to fight it the way on those terms. Sun Tzu, always fight where your enemy thinks you aren't. Okay? Don't fight where your enemy thinks you are. So I'm totally in pursuit of the deconstruction of literalism and the bringing of the light, but I'm not concerned about the other side. I'm not engaging with them. I'm only simply trying to bring more light into the world. That's my battle. My battle is to become a channel of the peace and the light. My battle, the spiritual warfare I fight is inside me against my own false self. And when that weakens, when that thins, when that becomes less than, then I have the power of a warrior. I am a warrior. I'm a spiritual warrior. I've had a warrior spirit since I was a kid. Here's an explanation for that. I've been a nonviolent man of peace, but also I had my choice between Annapolis and Coast Guard academies. I was going to be a warrior, and I turned them both down ultimately. But I had an appointment. I chose Coast Guard. That's where I got my appointment. Could have gone to Annapolis. Turned them both down in the end. I've always been a warrior. What my warrior is, my warrior spirit's inside myself. And I let it flow out from me, but only in the balance of the peace inside. I don't know if that helps or not, or if that's what you mean, but there you have it. All right, we're going to keep chatting here. It's 10 o'clock, top of the hour here. Wendy, Peter, please. I've reconsidered, says Wendy in Vermont. Sing to your heart's content, David Holt. There's a note for you there too under Wendy. Ari, our church attendance, although did not go during Sing to Your Heart's Content, David Holt, church attendance, although not during COVID, I do. Vestry member, in fact. She's an Episcopalian. She is. And the Episcopalians seek the wisdom tradition. At least some of the churches do. Well, I know they do in Wendy's church. Peter, I've reconsidered. When we moved here in 2008, Debbie Fitzsimmons, that's how I found you. I made every day to hear those messages from you. I'm so glad you're not buffering today. Thanks. I tried during that whole time on TV to contain the words inside the language I was reading, that I wrote, that I tried to speak and be a channel of light through the lens. It's where I learned that the light itself can be sent through the throat chakra and sent through the eyes, through the lens, and the ears, over the medium of broadcast TV and FM. And here too. Let's see. Brooke, Flowmaster, thank you for your service. Peace to you, my sister, says Brooke. Howard Storm, not Graham. Wow, an Easter resurrection of your true spirits is calling. Yeah, that was kind of how I was feeling too. Dr. Jess. Hey, Dr. Jess, who was here just recently. Good morning, and thank you for your services this morning. You're welcome. Shelley, out of the belly shall flow the rivers of the living water. It's flowing in here. That's out of the belly shall flow the rivers of the flowing water. And I can talk more about that too someday. How the belly actually can be a channel of peace into yourself and out into the world. And maybe you're feeling that right now because I just opened it up a little bit with my intent. Oscar, in the deserts of the heart, let the healing fountains start. In the prisons of his days, teach the free man how to praise. Auden. Well, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Emily, this is an interesting concept, and I enjoy how personal it feels with Peter being able to greet us individually and answer our questions. Great, Emily. That was my whole hope, is that we can like have a conversation. One of the things that TV never had was conversation. I could never engage my listeners like this, my viewers. I got letters and emails and that kind of stuff, but no direct chat. So this has been a dream of mine for a while, and I'm glad that it's working for you, Emily. I just glanced up at the time. I got plenty of time. I'm glad it's working for you. MG, our loved ones are more alive than they ever were in the afterlife, and we can feel their presence. Right on. Colleen, there is such a fine line between sticking with it and suicide. Wish we could prevent it better. Yeah. Suicide's a hard thing for those of us left behind. We'll talk more about suicide in the coming days. Colleen, it's peeling back the layers of the onion. It sure is. Erica, Nina, I attend Episcopal Church. We would love to read those verses. Yeah, I tend to doctor those verses, Just like, I figure I have freedom to rewrite a little bit in the scriptures because there's so many translations. I read through most of the translations before I write. Or many of the translations anyway. And what I came away with is basically the idea that I can work for the meaning inside the scripture itself. So the scriptures I read during not church are my reinterpretation, like all the hundreds of different reinterpretations there are in the translations. I asked a good friend of mine, says Erica, who became a pastor in Minnesota. She revealed her NDE to me yesterday. She felt calm and saw the white light. I was so touched by her openness. Awesome. I'm so glad to hear that there are other clergy out there. Oh, that's so good. That's so good. Kate, I left the church years ago. because of I left the church years ago because of religiosity. It was the best thing I ever did. Yeah, I'm not religious. You don't need to be. Religiosity can get in the way of the spirit. Logan P, do you think it's possible to connect or communicate with the dead spirit self without an NDE? Oh yeah, happens all the time. That's probably the most common mystical experience there is. The dead person comes back to say they are okay. I love you. I'm okay. It happens a lot. The veil does not prevent that. It's a shift. It's a personal shift from absolute grief into knowing that your beloved one is still alive. And if you ask around among your friends, you'll find out how many people have this experience and don't talk about it because it's, kooky. Can't talk about that kind of stuff. And well, physics is going to catch up with mysticism. It's already catching up. I can't do organized church anymore. I've lost trust, says Colleen. Yeah, and I was raised in the Boston Archdiocese. Yee. Talk about losing trust. I had a really good priest, though, who I ran into at Lee. Anyway, that's another story. Anyway, I had a really good priest. Erica, I want to learn to love my enemies. Love God above all things, and you'll learn to love your enemies. That's how it works. And you can act too. You can like give action, and that helps too, even when it hurts you. From your perspective on the other side, did you perceive yourself as participating in multiple lifetimes? Yes, I did, Stardust. Multiple lifetimes. They could have even been simultaneous, and I can't tell you what world they were in right now because that's veiled to me. I have a veil too. I can't see everything that happened in my near-death experience. That's the problem. The brain is too small. But yes. Thank you, Peter, says Vicky. You're welcome. It helps. Colleen, Logan, my daughter passed a month ago. I'm so sorry. Colleen, my condolences. She visited me in pink lights last week. Yes, I know they are here. That's why I was walking in nature fully alive. Oh my God, she came in pink lights. That's a beautiful thing. I'm sorry for your broken heart. I'm glad that she came, and I believe that your grief shifted in that moment. Shifted into hope. And now you know she is alive. And that's your mystical opening. That's your opening to the love of God. Because whenever anybody comes back from the dead to visit us, they not only bring themselves, they bring God's love. And when that touches us, that telepathy touches us and downloads in us, then we know our deceased loved one is not gone or obliterated. They're better than ever, and they still love us. Charlie, yes. Logan, P. Colleen, friendly reminder to hit like. Great way to help support Peter. I still haven't figured out my passwords, so I can't contribute money yet. Thank you. peterpanagore.love. Amen. Charlie, Colleen, my deepest sympathies, says Vicky. Such a beautiful message. This live chat, pink light, sharing her light. Pink is such a great color, too. Brother Ed, namaste, Rabbi, says my brother Ed. Namaste, brother. Love you. I'll see you one of these days, in person. Claire, in the Bible, the dead know nothing. What does that mean? Because God is no thing. God is no thing, nothingness. You know no thing of this life. You retain the loves of this life. Those loves are no things. The love is not a thing. That's the thing about the love. The love you feel for the deceased and they feel for you is not a thing. The love you feel for someone in your life is not a thing. It's the only thing here that's not a thing. All the other things are things except for love. Love is the transcendental power of the presence. And when they're dead, they know no thing because no thing comes with them. They go to the place of nothingness, capital N. God is no thing. So Buddha calls it nothing. I call it nothing too. I hesitated to use that word for a long time because people misunderstand me. But no thing travels across the border from here to heaven. You can't take a single thing with you. and therefore you know no thing. I hope that helps. From the reminder, hit like. It's Ellsbury. Colleen, I'm so sad to hear about. Yeah, says Alyssa. Would love to read NDE scriptures, I mean. Oh, well, I'm kind of doing that, sort of. I think that's what Not Church is. I'm picking apart all the scriptures to find the light within through the lens of a near-death experience. And maybe someday we will I'll go through the whole books, all the books. Maybe someday, I doubt it, frankly. But maybe there'll be a whole collection of my rewritings of the scriptures. I'm not really organizing them at this moment. I'm just kind of working through each one as I go. Brother Ed, losing my first wife to drowning when I couldn't save her, and my recovering adult daughter to suicide continues to inspire me. Brother Ed, I remember you telling me that story. God bless your soul. And your living wife, who, though she is gone, is still in the afterlife, made of love. Unless, of course, she's reincarnated, but that's a big question. I can talk about that some other day. How come when I was dead, I saw my multiple lives in timelessness. So I think I live multiple lives simultaneously when I'm a soul, but maybe in sequence in worlds inside of the space and time. Hard to see. God bless you, Ed. Akash Roy. Love God, family, yourself. That's what's most important. Yeah, you love God, you love your family, you love yourself. It's all the same thing. It's the Trinity of love. You love God, you're loving your family. You love your family, you're loving God. You love yourself, you're loving your family. You love your family, you're loving yourself, you're loving God. It's this big circle. It's all one thing. Love loves to love, love, wrote James Joyce in Ulysses. Steve, hey, welcome over here. I dissolved in tears I didn't know I had when you so straightforwardly affirmed the continuity of those I loved. They are not lost to me, nor am I to them. Thank you so much, Peter. No, they are not lost. And everyone who gets a visitation from the dead knows the truth of that. Capital T. Capital T. And if you know the truth of that, speak that loudly, because people need to hear. And Steve, I'm so glad to hear this. The truth is, the dead are not dead. They're just living somewhere else. They've evolved to the next level of spiritual being, the one that awaits us all, the place where we're from, to where we're going, to swing round back to the Gospel of Thomas. Leaving Earth recordings. I had a beautifully healing embrace with my father in a dream after he passed. It did not feel just a dream, though. It did not feel like just a dream, though. My name is Tobias, by the way. Hello, Tobias. Those visitations from the dead never really feel just like a dream. Because they're not. They're the presence of your loved one that leave you marked forever. I've got a couple minutes left. I'm going to stop fairly soon. I want to thank everybody for all of your gifts this morning that helped Not Church stay alive. And if you want to give and weren't able because you don't have a password in YouTube, visit peterpanagore.love for my brand new website that is awesome. Oh my gosh, what she did. What Christina Pelletier did. Wow. I love that and so agree. No things, MG. Yeah, no things. And Tobias, I'm glad you had that visitation. I think your life has probably changed as a result. Your grief has. Skipping down. My sister had a visitation from my grandfather, and the message was, everything will be all right. Everything's all right, Bob Marley. Everything's gonna be all right. That's the message I got when I was dead. All right was, all right is, all right will be. Eternally in the nature of the divine love of infinity. All is well, all has been well, all will be well, is the words that Julian of Norwich used for the same expression of the message. You're welcome, Arian. Religious communities are flawed and human, but they have preserved millennium of ancient wisdom. Without them, our wisdom would be superficial and not only one generation deep. No sacred text preserved. Yeah, you're right, Nina. That's exactly true. And that's the blessing of keeping religion alive, because it is a containment for the wisdom that's been passed down generation to generation. I have a library full of it because of that. Right on. The new website is really awesome. Thanks, Kristen. It's really incredible. It's like, oh my God, is that even possible with technology? Charlie, I had visits at least 7 people who have died. From 7 people who have died, 2 of them are in contact every few years. It happens in very lucid dreams. Nice. Ongoing visitation from the dead. That totally happens too. So here's another example. It's not just a one-off. It can be a multiple the visitation experience over time. You can create connection, deeper connection. It's totally possible. Peter left ministry a long time ago, says Rob. Now I struggle when talking with my sons about spirituality. Short of be good, love, and be open, any insights from your life as a dad? Yeah, it's hard with your kids. I simply love them. And I kind of let them be themselves. I just love them, and I tell them that I love them, because every time I love them and they love me back, I bring the love of God. It's a little more complex with kids. I'm not trying to feed anyone information. I'm not trying to make anybody believe me, not even anybody here. I'm not, whether you believe me or not, doesn't matter to me. I know where I'm from and I know where I'm going. And that applies to my work, but it also applies to my children. I merely try to bring it with me when I'm with them. That's all I try to do. It's not about knowledge anyway. It's really about the frequency and the vibration of love that we share. And the actions we give to each other that we show that we care are caring actions. That's really how I address my kids or approach my kids, my granddaughter, my family, my dad, who doesn't really believe me, doesn't really believe in God at all. He's not sure. Anyway, that's how I do it. Best I can. Struggle with this myself. Brooklyn of Ohio, the dead know nothing. Let the dead bury the dead. He's talking about the living people. The dead know nothing. Let the dead bury the dead. He's talking about those who cannot see, who are alive. It's metaphor. It's metaphor. My sister got no regrets when her husband of 34 years passed away. Nice. No regrets. That's very nice. Brooke, if you're not awake in the spirit, unborn, living, dead. Yeah, that's exactly it. I should have read down 2 before I said what I said. But yeah, you're right. The living dead. The living dead. That could be the name of a zombie series. How do I join Mystic Tea? I'm hesitant to go to my website, peterpanagore.love. I think the link is there. I don't know. I want you to join Mystic Tea. If you subscribe to my email at my website, then you will be able to come to Mystic Tea next week. I'm hesitant to put it up in public because we want to avoid Zoom bombers. Hopefully the link is there. If it's not, I'll put it there this week, God willing. Still tweaking that thing. Maybe I can message it to you. If you private message me on Facebook, maybe I can get it to you. Okay. I think I could probably do that. It's 19 after, and I've definitely got to stop at 25 after. I'll stay till then because everybody's talking. Let's see. Tobias, yes, my life surely has changed not only because of that, but partly I used to be an atheist. Yes, nothing like meeting God to to show you that God's real. Yeah, there's nothing like that. Welcome. Atheism is, some of my best friends are atheists, and they're some of the most spiritual people that I know, certainly among the most loving. Do your kids still attend church? My kids stopped going to church a long time ago. A long time. I don't even go to church anymore. I stopped going. When I went to TV, I stopped going to church. My kids stopped probably before high school ended. And so, no. Hide with the kids. Amen. Stardust. Yeah, for sure that is. I saw my father also after passing, says Arian. It was so real, much more real than this reality. That's the thing about God, much more real than this reality. Heaven is much more real than this reality. A visitation from the dead shows you a glimpse of reality with a capital R. Ah, as we say in Boston or in Maine. Such a beautiful talk we had. He said, I'm dead, but not here. It was profoundly beautiful. That's why my book is titled Heaven is Beautiful, because it's profoundly beautiful. Profoundly beautiful. And so many reflections and facets of that word that we can't even comprehend here. But you can get a glimpse of when someone like that comes to visit you. Pray for your children to have a spiritual mentor with a family or a special uncle or aunt. Yeah, good idea. Usually kids don't want to listen to their parents. Yeah, that's true about everything. We co-parented our kids. Growing up, we co-parented them with all of their friends' parents. We had a secret backroom group where we would communicate with each other backdoor and mentor them together. So yeah, why not spiritually? Good idea. Let's see. I'm going to finish up here. Thanks for your gifts this morning. Pray for your children. Be a sprinkler of God's love on earth and watch the yellow grass become green. Lupe read 33. Yeah. Sprinkler of God's love. That's what we do. Sprinkle it, step back and watch. Nice metaphor. Go with God. Message from your atheist dad after he passed. Go with God. Message from the atheist dad after he passed. He found out. That is what I'm talking about. That's why I don't care if anybody believes me or not, because the moment you die, you find out. Atheist or not, it just self-reveals itself. That's why I have no pressure. Like, you must believe. And you're going to find out. The door opens. Go with God. If you do it now, then you get to participate in the heaven that's to come. By the way, if you're looking at this thing, this is my old website. We don't own that anymore. This was dailydevotions.org. This was what I used to do, and we had branding. And I love this hat. It took me 2 years to put it back on again because I was heartbroken when it ended. First Radio Parish Church of America. Anyway, Brooke, the zombie movies do seem metaphoric for the unborn living dead. Good point. Yeah. Rebecca, Ozzy, thanks for walking the costly road to convey your knowing to the world. You're welcome. It's a costly road. Yeah, it sure is. And MG, to just about finish this up, I stopped church. It saved me to stop. All right, my friends. Thanks for coming here. And I didn't even go over to Facebook at all. Jeff and Tim and Claire and Logan and Tim. And do I believe in reincarnation? No, I don't believe in reincarnation. I saw my other lives. No believing in that. Good morning from Maine, Tim. Bonjour. Hello down there in Portland. Logan, what are your thoughts on people who are psychic and are clairvoyant, such as Edgar Cayce? I think that psychics exist. I think their frauds exist. We could talk about that sometime, though. That's a big question. I have friends who are psychics. I've seen frauds. So both exists. I'm a psychic. I have psychic experience all the time. I don't channel people. I try to channel only God, but all sorts of psychic stuff happens to me all the time. It's part of being a near-death experiencer. You got a lot of static. Oh, well, I don't know what to say, my brother. Must be, I'm not sure what's bringing that static up. I'm looking around. Oh, I know what it is. Try this. I'm back. I forgot to shut off the ceiling fan. That might have been it. Sorry about that, Jeff and everybody. If you all get static, I have the ceiling fan on today because I had the heat on because it's chilly here on the coast of Maine. And I got a minute. How do you feel about African spirituality that promotes talking to the dead while Christianity does not? Heck, I talked to my sister. She's dead. When I was younger, when an old fella died, I talked to him. I rather not try to use the spiritual life as a means for my own gain. And so, even though I talk to my sister, I aim my heart only at the oneness of being. And that way, whatever my sister happened to carry across with her doesn't get filtered through incorrectly. I aim for the oneness of being. People talk to the dead all the time. I have friends who are psychics. I have a friend who's a psychic who talks to her dad all the time, and it's helpful to her. Her dad's helpful to her. If your deceased loved one wants to help you, why would you not accept their help? But keep your heart in the oneness of being. Keep the light inside yourself, and then you will be safe and protected from all darkness. So it's a little more complex than I don't know much about the African shamanism. That's a little outside my abilities, my knowledge. I know a little bit about shamanism, but that's such a very big subject. I know something about shamanism. Hello, Cynthia and Allie. And how do you feel about Africa? I already answered that. I don't know about all of this, but I think there's something here. So I just love each day to the fullest, Shane. You're going to find out. Keep digging, Shane. You're going to find out all about it. Don't have to take my word for it. Look inside yourself. Find the light within you. Let it speak to your heart. Don't have to take my word for it. I died once and didn't see anything. That scared me, but I still want to believe that there is something after this. Oh, well, so not everybody gets to see for the time they cross over. Why that is, I don't know. But if you want to talk about it sometime, please let's. But I got to go. I only have 4 minutes, and now I really got to go because I got to take a biology break because I am a person in a body, not just an incarnate soul. So, my friends, fare thee well. What do you think about predetermination in terms of whether or not you have kids or life partner? Carrie, big, huge subject. I'm super interested in predeterminism only because I have an answer for you, but I can't get to it this week because I gotta go. We'll come to that for sure. So stick around. Stick around. All right, I gotta go. My friends, peace and love. See you next Sunday. See you Monday, not church, peterpanagore.love. Thanks for all the donations this morning. You help keep me on the air broadcasting. Without you, I can't do this. So thanks a lot. I'm a messenger, but I'm not the only one. I work for the boss, the light. Amen. Peace and love, everybody. Bye.